Hello everyone, it's Glenda and welcome back to my channel, Creative Grandma. Today's video is about Crochet World Winter 2025 issue. Now this has just hit the newsstands, so it has 29 patterns for the winter season and I can't wait to see what all these patterns are. So the magazine sells for $9.99 in the United States and $12.99 in Canada. Now I still feel that this is one of the most affordable crochet magazines still out there. So let's go ahead, open the pages, and take a look. So when you open the magazine, the first thing you're going to see is a note from the editor. And then when you turn the page, you're going to see a snapshot of some of the patterns. You're going to see the name of the patterns and the page number that you can find that pattern. The first pattern is the Shepherd's Knitting Caps. Now this is a crochet book, so this is a crochet pattern. Mimic the look and feel of a knit cap with slip stitches in the simple design. Now this is a confident beginner skill level and the finished measurements are 12 inches high by 19 inches wide. And then if you look at the hat, you can see this one's solid blue and this one has a golden trim. The next pattern is the Woodland Amigurumi series. Declan is the last in a series of 5 woodland-inspired amigurumi dolls, complete with little outfits. The previous dolls can be found starting in the Winter 2024 issue and continuing in each issue leading up to this one. This is a confident beginner skill level, and the finished measurements are 8.5 inches tall. The next pattern is the hump block, reverse block, and underneath block. The 3 blocks we give you in this issue are packed with texture and thick, making them perfect for cold weather projects. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurement is 6.5 inches square, excluding the edging. So this one right here, this is the hump block. When you turn the page, then you're going to see the reverse block and the underneath block. So wouldn't this be pretty, putting all 3 blocks together and making a blanket? Now the reverse block is also an intermediate skill level and the finished measurements are 6.5 inches square, excluding the edging. The underneath block is also an intermediate skill level and it also measures 6.5 inches square, excluding the edging. The next pattern is called the Evergreens. Turn squares into trees that stay evergreen. Each layer of the trees is a square folded in half diagonally and sewn. Then the layers are stacked one upon another. This is a confident beginner skill level. So they have different measurements. I'm just going to show the measurements here. A little confusing. 2 6.5 inch wide, 7 12 inch tall, and then the granny squares and the moss stitch squares have the measurements right here. And there's another photo of those trees. Then there's also an article about learn Bruges lace. Now I never heard that term, but it's interesting read to show you how to make that lace. And then I noticed they give you the instructions for the traditional tape. This is the instructions, and then the wave instructions. And when you turn it over, you can see it has a butterfly pattern right here. So very pretty. The next pattern is the Spiral Cow. Practice your new lace skills with this beautiful cow design. This is an advanced skill level. The finished measurements for the Shimmer Cow is 19 by 12 inches, 30 inches in circumference, blocked and laid flat. The Mohair Cow is 14 by 9.5 inches, 28 inches in circumference, blocked and laid flat. So I'm not sure which one this is. So this must be the Shimmer Cow. And then if you look up here, this must be the Mohair Cow. And then there's an article about crochet cubies, stackable crochet animals. Very adorable. On the next couple pages, you're going to see an article about threads of change. And then we get into some thread designs. So first you're going to see the snowflake table mat. So over here you can see part of that design. This small mat is a great winter addition to your decor and could also be used for Hanukkah because the center of each motif is a 6-pointed star. Now this is an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements, the finished mat is 9 3/4 inches wide at the widest point, and the motif is 4 inches across from corner to corner. So I'm just going to turn the page back so you can see that design again. And this was made with size 10 crochet cotton. And what I like is they not only give you the written instructions, they also give you the diagrams. Look at this next stunning doily. This is the Christmas tree doily. Christmas trees decorated with gold beads encircle a poinsettia-like center in this holiday doily. A lacy, 2-colored scallop border with picots finishes it off. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements are 10 inches in diameter. Very festive pattern. The next pattern is the Earwind doily. This gorgeous extra large doily will make a lovely centerpiece for your table this winter and holiday season. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements are 35 inches in diameter, and a number 8 crochet cotton thread was used. The next pattern is the woven snowflake ornament. A simple stitch and basic stiffening makes this crochet project a snap. Confident beginner skill level, and the finished measurements are 7.5 inches wide by 6.5 inches long. The next set of patterns is called Deck the Halls. So first we're going to start with the Christmas tree stocking. This timeless and creative take on the classic stocking will look lovely on the mantle. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurement is 12.5 inches long. And you can see the little pocket for putting little Christmas treats. The next set of patterns is the Tunisian holiday pot holders. Every picture tells a story, and every story becomes a memory for generations to come. Begin your story with this nostalgic set of pot holders that will surely become a family tradition. It's a confident beginner skill level, and the finished measurements are 9 inches wide by 10 inches tall. The next pattern is the Christmas Snow Afghan. Create this festive Afghan with join-as-you-go granny squares worked in blocks of 4 for your holiday decor. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements are approximately 46 inches wide by 59 inches long. The next pattern is the C2C Christmas blanket. Corner to corner crochet is used to make this beautiful Christmas themed blanket. It will look amazing stitched up in traditional Christmas colors. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements, including the border, are 56 inches wide by 70.5 inches long. And here's another photo of that blanket, very festive. The next pattern is the retro wreath pillow. Whether you choose traditional colors or a retro Christmas palette, this lovely applique wreath pillow adds the perfect touch to your holiday decor. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements are 16 inches square. The next pattern is Twinkle Lights Blanket. Cozy up with a retro-inspired crochet Christmas blanket bursting with bold, nostalgic hues and playful strings of colorful Christmas lights. This is an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements are 51 inches wide by 57 inches long. The next section of the magazine is Layers of Warmth. So the first pattern you're going to see is the wrapped hood. You could wear it as a cowl, and you can wear it as a hood. Exquisite texture and drape are stitched using a 1-row repeat to create a super warm hooded accessory. With scarf ends wrapped and tied around one's neck, the hood can be worn for protection from cold winds or slide back off one's head for a trendy tied cowl on warmer days. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements are 19.5 inches tall from center top edge to bottom by 70 inches from end to end at base. Isn't that pretty? And it's a 1-row repeat. The next pattern is Pretty and Puff Set. This set will keep you toasty when the frigid winter days come racing in. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurement for the hat is 20 inches in circumference by 8 inches long, and the scarf measures 12 inches wide at each end by 45 inches long. The next pattern is North by Northwest set. This reversible set with its spiraling stitch pattern is almost hypnotic. The double layered texture draws you in, inviting you to try it out with your most special yarns, whether they're tonal, solid, self-striping, hand-painted, or variegated. This is an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements for the hand warmers are 3.5 inches in circumference by 6.5 inches tall. The hat measures 18 inches in circumference by 8 inches tall. The next pattern is the mulled wine poncho. This poncho celebrates casual luxury. Make one just in time for your holiday parties. A repetitive stitch pattern creates an all-over mock cable texture that pairs beautifully with the rich, alluring hue. And simplified construction makes this the perfect accessory to throw on over any ensemble. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished measurements, the circumference after seaming, is 60.5 inches. The length shoulder to hem is 21 inches. And here's another photo of that poncho. The next design is the Terry cardigan. The drapey front of this cardigan enables it to be styled and worn in several ways. It's an intermediate skill level, and the finished size instructions given fit size small to medium. Changes for large, extra large, and 2X and 3X are included. So there's one photo, and down here's another photo. The next pattern is the winter warmth cardigan. The simple construction of this cardigan makes it a joy to create, and it will keep you warm and cozy all winter long. Here's another photo. It's an intermediate skill level, and the instructions given fit size small to medium. Changes for large, extra large, 2X and 3X are included. The next pattern is the Canora striped cardigan. Stripes, color blocking, and a fun stitch repeat come together in a perfect combination in this easy to wear open front cardigan. This is an intermediate skill level, and the finished sizes instructions given fit women's size small. Changes for medium, large, extra large, 2X, 3X, and 4X are included in the instructions. Now, when I look at this, I can see all kinds of color combinations. This looks like a very beautiful casual cover-up cardigan, and I could see it done in so many different yarns. And then when you're at the end of the magazine, you're going to see the standard yarn weight system where you can buy the Crochet World Magazine. Now, I got my copy at my local grocery store. I do know that Walmart also carries this magazine. So if you're in Walmart, make a trip over to the magazine section and hopefully you can find this edition. It gives you the different skill levels. It gives you the stitch guide that shows you the stitches. And then on the back, it just gives you a rundown of the patterns in the magazine. So that was my sneak peek inside Crochet World Magazine. Again, it's $9.99 in the United States. It's $12.99 in Canada. 29 patterns. You're getting it for $9.99 here in the US. That is a phenomenal price for Crochet Magazine. So I'm really happy that Crochet World keeps this magazine affordable for all of us crochet lovers. So thank you everybody for stopping by today. I hope this magazine and this video has got you inspired to pick up your crochet hook today. So until next time, stay inspired and happy crocheting. Bye everyone.